It's 2 a.m. when the cold CEO wife Liu Ruyan gets a call from her crush. Just as she is about to dump Du Qian to go meet him, she hears a voice. He's internally screaming that Bi Yuntao has spiked wine ready so the two of them can finally get busy. Liu Ruyan instantly whips her head around to glare at Du Qian with completely ice-cold eyes. He's just thinking, I'm not stopping you from having fun, so hurry up and scram. That way he will finally have a solid excuse to call his lawyer and file for divorce. He wants to leave her with absolutely nothing, which finally makes Liu Ruyan realize the truth. She can literally hear Du Tian's inner thoughts, and she instantly gets the urge to strangle him to death. She's thinking, good, this guy is seriously and blatantly plotting to take all of her money. Since she goes quiet, Bi Yuntao is just on the other end of the line, softly calling out her name. Asking if she's listening, she coldly replies she got it. She answers him, even though she initially wanted to reject the invitation. But get this, since Du Qian apparently has future predicting abilities, she decides she should drag him along. As for Bi Yuntao, it's time he finally gets a harsh reality check. Bi Yuntao sounds absolutely hyped over the phone, saying he'll be waiting for her. Liu Ruyan hangs up and stares at Du Qian, who's still chilling in the bathtub. She coldly tells him to wash up and come out with her, leaving him completely and utterly confused. Go out with her? Du Qian looks down and starts overthinking the whole situation. If he tags along, how on earth is he supposed to let her hook up with Bi Yuntao? How is he going to bring up divorce and secure that massive payout? She suddenly snaps at Du Qian, reminding him that as long as he's still her husband, he's obligated to attend banquets with her, coldly cutting off his inner train of thought. Honestly, guys, she is so incredibly mad. She literally wants to throttle this money-obsessed man right now, giving him just 30 minutes. Telling him she'll wait downstairs, Liu Ruyan instantly turns around and storms out. Gritting his teeth, Du Qian thinks his brain must have been totally broken back then. To chase after her for so many years, calling his current misery a literal punishment from heaven. Heading toward the bathroom, Liu Ruyan suddenly freezes right in her tracks. She turns her head back, and their eyes lock in a tense stare-down. Du Qian feels the temperature in the room instantly drop to 0, sending a heavy shiver down his spine. Fine, I'll go, he grumbles quietly. No need to be threatening me like that. Satisfied, Liu Ruyan turns back around, with a subtle and barely visible smirk playing on her lips. Half an hour later, Du Qian is all dressed up and heads downstairs. He finds Liu Ruyan sitting on the sofa, typing away on a laptop balanced on her lap. Her slender fingers fly across the keys, and honestly, he just has to admit it. Liu Ruyan is absolutely stunning from head to toe. Seriously, you cannot find a single flaw on her entire body if you tried. She looks like a perfect masterpiece that was literally hand-carved by the gods themselves. No wonder Bi Yuntao is completely head over heels and totally obsessed with her flawless looks. Even he was almost hooked by her gaze, but unfortunately, she's not destined to be the main female lead. She doesn't have that plot armor, and since Bi Yuntao is the main character, how could he ever actually fall for her? Hearing this, Liu Ruyan's fingers instantly freeze on the keys. What does he mean by female lead and plot armor? And Bi Yuntao is the main lead? Honestly, his bizarre and highly chaotic inner monologue is leaving her head spinning completely. But it felt like she was finally catching on to something, and it was driving Liu Ruyan completely crazy. She stood up, giving him a heavy glare. Why are you not wearing a suit? Our boy just squinted back, thinking, none of your business. I am just waiting for Bi Yuntao to make his move today. That way, once she gets drunk and does something crazy, she will be blasted all over the headlines. Then he can finally secure that divorce money and run as far away as possible. Listening to his loud and clear inner schemes, Liu Ruyan's eyelids started twitching like crazy. She had to forcefully suppress the absolute rage that was about to blast right through her skull. Forcing a calm face, she told him, actually, this looks fine. It gives off a decent professional vibe. She even offered to arrange a nice position for him at her company if he wanted. But honestly, they are literally getting a divorce, so who cares about a job offer? Our guy just grinned at her, saying, no thanks, I think I am doing just fine right now. Without giving her another glance, he just turned around and walked right out to the yard. Watching him walk away, Liu Ruyan could only furrow her brows in complete disbelief. Her face went totally dark, and her right hand,
was still frozen in the air, as if she wanted to link arms like they used to.
For years, she was so used to him doting on her, but now he was completely done chasing.
He even showed clear disgust, which left her totally lost and unable to process what was happening.
Along with the confusion, a strange wave of emptiness and regret washed over her. In the car, our guy continued to give her the absolute cold shoulder. Just staring out the window, roasting her nonstop in his head while she had to listen.
Having to hear his savage thoughts the entire ride, her face was completely livid by the end.
She looked ready to murder someone as the Rolls-Royce pulled up to the elite club. The moment she stepped out, a dramatic figure came flying right toward her. Thank goodness she dodged quickly to the side, completely avoiding Bi Yun-tao's desperate embrace. How desperate do you have to be to throw yourself at someone like that? Our boy figured this cheap guy definitely turned up the heat to set up a trap tonight.
"Get out," Liu Ruyan snapped coldly, telling our main character to get out of the car.
She was secretly fuming. Is he really that eager to push her?
Into another man's arms just because he is so desperate to cut ties?
Just yesterday, they were so close, but in only one single night, his attitude did a total flip.
Our main character didn't even care about her dark, freezing glare and just ignored her entirely. He just got out from the other side, and the moment Bi Yun-tao saw him,
his voice turned incredibly high-pitched. "Dukian, what are you doing here? Get lost! You are not welcome here. She is my love."
If you do not welcome him, then it looks like you do not welcome me either. Liu Ruyan's freezing voice cut through the air, and with that, she turned to get back inside the car. Bi Yun-tao panicked and grabbed the door. He looked at her with pure desperation. "How could I not welcome you? I literally planned all of this just to celebrate your birthday, Ruin. Please don't be like this." "I was wrong," Bi Yun-tao quickly stuttered, turning to apologize to our main character.
"I am sorry, Dukian. I spoke without thinking."
Don't take it to heart, but our main character just brushed it off, saying it's whatever.
Since Mr. Bai wants to celebrate her birthday, it has nothing to do with me anyway.
Hearing this, a wave of shock and confusion flashed in Bai Yun-tao's eyes.
Wasn't this guy always acting like a clingy, annoying parasite? He always clings to Liu Ruyan like crazy. Why is he acting so different today?
The private VIP room was completely empty. Honestly, Du Qian only ended up here because Liu Ruyan forced him along. Otherwise, right now, she and Bi Yun-tao would be the only ones left in this room.
Scanning the empty room, Liu Ruyan knits her brows in pure irritation.
At first, she actually had some serious doubts about Du Qian's sudden change. But now, she's completely convinced. Smiling, Bi Yun-tao steps up and hands her a glass of wine. Flashing a totally harmless grin, he wishes her a very happy birthday. Liu Ruyan takes the glass of red wine. All right, the trap is set. Once she downs this drink, Du Qian's divorce is basically a done deal. He keeps his eyes locked onto the glass in Liu Ruyan's hand.
He's mentally screaming, "Drink up already," so they can officially call it quits.
Liu Ruyan looks like she wants to strangle him. Du Qian casually excuses himself to the restroom. Seeing her hold the glass without taking a drink, Du Qian quickly makes an excuse. He sneaks out fast, planning to make a quick U-turn. He wants to catch this trash couple red-handed right in front of Bai Yun-tao.
And with the massive crowd Bai Yun-tao secretly brought, he will claim his divorce as the ultimate victim.
Just like that, our awakened former simp is starting his new grind. He literally hums a happy little tune as he skips out of the room.
He completely misses the dark, chilling smirk spreading across Liu Ruyan's face.
It's a look that'll give you goosebumps. Meanwhile, Bi Yun-tao is thrilled. Seeing Du Qian finally back off like a good boy makes him incredibly satisfied. If this absolute clown, Du Qian, had just known his place from the start, Liu Ruyan would have been his woman long ago. "Ruyan, happy birthday!" Bi Yun-tao clinks his glass against hers with a smug grin on his face. Grinning like a proud fool, she just calmly asks him for her birthday gift. Liu Ruyan doesn't take a single sip. Instead, she just calmly asks. Bi Yun-tao blankly blinks, then suddenly slaps his forehead. Of course he has a gift. He quickly sets his glass down on the table.
As he turns around to grab his bag from the couch, she instantly swaps their glasses.
No shot she is letting this guy win. She only tolerated him these past 2 years. because of the deep guilt she felt toward his comatose brother, Bi-yoon Yao.
After all, Bi-yoon Yao is only lying brain dead in a hospital because of her.
But that guilt doesn't mean Bi-yoon Tao gets to push her around like this. Bi-yoon Tao has absolutely no idea. He just grabs the gift from his bag. He steps right back to her with the package in hand. Ruyan, here is my gift. Thank you so much for taking care of me all these years. You must accept this. Liu Ruyan takes it and casually tosses it onto the table. Then she takes a sip of her wine. Watching her finally drink it, Bi-yoon Tao is practically celebrating inside. That glass of wine is heavily spiked. Just one tiny sip makes anyone lose control. Smiling, he quickly sips his own glass.
He promises with a sweet grin that he won't ever let her down.
Before he can even finish, Liu Ruyan coldly cuts him off, saying she has errands. She sets her glass down and turns to leave right then and there. Panicking, Bi-yoon Tao slams his glass down and bolts after her. He spreads his arms to grab her, but she reacts like she has eyes on her back. Liu Ruyan quickly dodges Bi-yoon Tao and tells him to stop. With that, Liu Ruyan flings open the VIP room door. She walks out, leaving Bi-yoon Tao aggressively ripping at his collar. The man is literally burning up. Meanwhile, on the other side, our main character Du Chien is slowly washing his hands, staring at his reflection with a smug smirk. Honestly, he is so done with his past self. How is he ever that shameless? Simping for so many years, but this morning he choked on some water. He finally woke up. Otherwise, he would still be down bad with zero self-respect. But now he just wants to live his best life. He grabs a paper towel. Humming a cheerful tune, he walks out, only to find his wife panting heavily. Looking at her in pure shock, he wonders why she is out here. Rather than doing the deed with Bi-yoon Tao, she glares at him, asking about her location. He thinks to himself, obviously getting busy with your lover. But he just grins, saying nature called. Then he urges her to hurry back to the private room because Bi-yoon Tao is waiting.
Deep down, he is begging her to cheat. If she doesn't do it,
there is no way he gets that massive divorce payout, Liu Ruyan growls. What? He snaps, rolling his eyes as he takes 2 steps back. Creating some distance between them, he watches her take a deep breath, struggling to suppress her rage before she demands her birthday gift. No gift, he says. She dragged him out in a massive hurry. He shrugs with the most innocent and helpless face you will ever see.
Besides, he adds, a big CEO like her probably doesn't even care.
Surely her side piece got her something better. She gritted her teeth in anger. Walking closer to him, she makes our main character instantly suspicious. Is the drug that guy gave her kicking in? He backs away fast. Retreating step by step, he asks what she is doing.
Right as things are about to get wild and out of control.
She suddenly smiles. She says her grandmother just called, demanding they return to the family estate. He is completely dazed.
Giving him a cold glance, she turns to leave.
Honestly, did the drug even work? She looks way too normal.
They pull up to the Wen family estate. Old Lady Wen is her grandmother.
And she is literally the only nice person in this entire toxic family. The old lady smiles warmly. Du Chien secretly thinks that while his wife deserves her fate, this sweet old lady is going to die a completely tragic death, low-key heartbreaking.
Wait, the grandmother freezes. Why is she hearing his voice when his mouth isn't moving?
Did she just hear him talk about her granddaughter's impending doom? And what tragic death! She has been a kind soul her entire life. But in the plot, she is the first to die just for catching the main couple. Back then, Liu Ruyan actually claimed Bi-yoon Tao was her real boyfriend. So right after the poor old lady was forced to accept this, she immediately catches her favorite granddaughter cheating on her grandson-in-law. For an elderly lady, that shock is already massive. Only to be drowned in a dirty bucket. The old lady's eyes widen in pure shock. He is completely horrified and can't believe his eyes. He was literally drowned in a manure bucket by that parasite, Yoon Yao. Is Grandma doing okay? He asks, hiding the deep sadness in his heart. He steps forward to hold her arm tightly, swearing he won't let her suffer a tragic death this time. Once he divorces Liu Ruyan, his plan is to take Grandma and leave this city forever. Grandma pats his hand and immediately turns on Li Ruyan, calling her a brat who must have bullied Xiao Yan again.
She raises her hand and slaps Liu Ruyan on the back of the neck, asking if she treats her warnings like absolute garbage.
How many times do I have to tell you, Grandma yells, Xiao Yan is a good kid?
I told you to treat him better, but it goes in one ear and straight out the other. Liu Ruyan doesn't even dare to fight back and just takes the hits one after another. Watching his wife get battered by her own grandma, Xiao Yan can only stare in complete shock. And honestly, we love to see it. He has absolutely no idea how to react to this wild scene, but then the housekeeper smiles and invites him inside. She happily tells him that the old lady knew he was coming today. So she specifically had a big batch of his favorite stamina-boosting oyster and chive soup made. Meanwhile, Grandma chases Liu Ruyan all the way into the backyard garden to yell at her. After making sure Xiao Yan didn't follow them, Grandma finally stops and warns Liu Ruyan.
She glares fiercely at her granddaughter, ordering her to completely cut ties with that human birth control pill, Yun Yao. If you ever dare to make him your boyfriend, don't you ever call me your grandmother again.
Li Ruyan stares at her blankly and asks if she can hear Xiao Yan's inner thoughts too. Grandma frowns deeply, repeating the words under her breath as her face hardens. Before Liu Ruyan can even explain what she means by hearing his thoughts, Grandma reacts instantly. She delivers another heavy slap right to the back of the brat's neck. She demands to know how a girl who doesn't even care about Xiao Yan has the right to hear his thoughts. You don't have him in your heart at all, Grandma warns, and if you dare to divorce him, you are leaving with nothing. Let's see if that parasite, Yun Yao, still wants you when you're completely penniless and broke. Liu Ruyan rubs the back of her sore neck, completely defeated by the sudden beating. She quietly tells her grandmother that she actually has no intention of divorcing Xiao Yan. Grandma spits on the ground in disgust, asking if she's really trying to keep both men for herself. I'm telling you right now, I've already officially taken Xiao Yan as my own grandson. Everything I own is going to him, and I'll leave the city with him if I have to. Your grandmother doesn't care whether you live or die, since you choose to ignore such a good man. Instead, you go running after that incredibly scheming birth control pill Yun Yao. You cannot make this drama up, guys. Liu Ruyan softly defends herself, claiming she doesn't actually like Yun Yao at all. Grandma scoffs, pointing out she paid his medical bills and took care of his brother for 3 whole years. But he only got hurt in the first place because of me, Liu Ruyan whispers. Grandma spits again, cutting her off with a fierce glare that could kill. She mutters that her granddaughter is useless before storming back inside to ask Xiao Yan about his soup. She happily sits next to him, just as Liu Ruyan walks back through the front door. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan's phone rings with news that Yun Yao has finally woken up. She says she's coming right over, but Grandma blocks her path, absolutely furious. The old lady stands in front of her, her face completely flushed with pure rage. She originally wanted to help her granddaughter out by saying some nice things in front of Xiao Yan. But now there's no way to defend her, so Grandma instinctively turns to look at him. But Xiao Yan shows absolutely no emotion, calmly sipping his stamina soup as if nothing happened. It's like he didn't even hear a single word about Yun Yao waking up. Seeing his totally cold indifference, Grandma feels a sudden wave of dread hit her heart.
Oh no, Xiao Yan is absolutely convinced that she is furious.
She won't even look at him, because once a guy stops caring, he is done. Exactly. Every single move she makes will mean absolutely nothing to him. Xiao Yan is internally screaming for her to go visit her long-lost white moonlight already. The guy is finally awake, so why is she not sprinting over there at top speed? He wants her to hurry up, sign the papers, and give him that divorce. He literally just wants the payout. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan's eyelid starts twitching hard. Her freezing gaze locks onto Xiao Yan, and honestly, she looks ready to kill. She has this massive urge to tape his mouth shut. Xiao Yan just looks up. He catches her staring right at him and asks her what her problem is. He pulls the most innocent face and tells her he is not stopping her. Go on, he says. Bi Yun Yao definitely has a lot of things to tell you. But then Liu Ruyan drops a bomb and tells him he is coming along. Xiao Yan is completely shocked and literally starts doubting his own hearing at this point. There is no way he is going, especially when he has better things to do.
He would rather play chess with Grandma, but the sweet old lady instantly waves her hands.
She tells Xiaoyan to go because that Bai guy is definitely scheming something dirty.
Anyone with eyes can see it, so they cannot give him a single chance. Plus, that rich girl has tons of cash, and they cannot let anyone steal it. Hearing Grandma looking out for him like this actually makes Xiaoyan feel pretty emotional. He agrees to go, and soon Lu Ruyan is driving them straight to the hospital. Inside, Bai Yunyao is leaning weakly against his pillows, looking totally pale and fragile. Xiaoyan tags along behind her as Bi Yunyao instantly fixes his eyes on Liu Ruyan. He forces a weak, tragic smile and calls her name. Talk about peak melodrama here. Even after being comatose for 2.5 years, he still wakes up looking like a sickly prince. But since Liu Ruyan just stands there in silence, Bi Yunyao softly calls her again. He asks if everything is okay or if she's just super busy with work. He even tells her she did not have to make this trip if she was busy. Since the caretakers she paid for are there, she shouldn't worry. Liu Ruyan just nods. She coldly remarks that his complexion looks fine and the staff did a great job. Bai Yunyao stares at her completely blankly, and honestly, the disappointment is so real. Her detached attitude is definitely not what he expected. But wait, he is not alone. Honestly, even I did not see this plot twist coming. This is wild. He is internally screaming. Did this girl lose her mind? Why is she breaking character? Shouldn't she be running over and confessing her undying love to her precious white moonlight? Hearing Xiaoyan roasting her in his mind, Liu Ruyan feels like her head might explode. She literally wants to gag him right now, but she forces her rising anger down. Remember, she only brought him here to gather more intel from his wild inner thoughts. She needs to know who this mystery female lead is. Suddenly, Bi Yunyao sighs softly. He stares at her with this tragic, guilty look, acting like they are totally alone. Xiaoyan just scoffs internally, and honestly, we are all loving this tension. This guy is a total fake, since his actual crush is not even Liu Ruyan. He is literally just playing her so he can help the actual female lead steal her company's top secret documents. Liu Ruyan is shocked. She cannot believe her own ears. Bi Yunyao is planning to ruin her? What is this trash guy even talking about? But still, all he really wants to know is who the female lead actually is, while Liu Ruyan hides her shock. She casually shrugs it off. No trouble at all. The doctors and nurses did all the work. Hearing this, Bai Yunyao's fake smile completely freezes up, and his gaze finally shifts toward Du Qian, who had been silent. He definitely knows who Du Qian is. There is no way he does not. But they never had any actual contact. So this guy acts like they are complete strangers, turning to Liu Ruyan to ask who this is. His eyes drift back and forth between them, trying to play dumb. Looking totally clueless, Liu Ruyan just smiles. She walks over, stands right next to him, and introduces her husband, Du Qian. Bai Yunyao acts utterly shocked before pulling off this fake, self-deprecating smile, pretending his brain is just fuddled. He apologizes, claiming that sleeping for so long has made his memory totally glitch out. Smiling at Du Qian, he asks for forgiveness. He hopes Du Qian won't hold it against him, using his patient status to dodge any blame. But Du Qian just gives him this bored, deadpan look, not bothered at all. He literally tells him that sleeping that long would make anyone's brain totally crash. But hey, now is a great time to get a good look. He is Du Qian, the husband of Liu Ruyan. Bi Yunyao nods politely, but under the blanket, he is literally clenching his fists in rage. He is losing his mind, wondering why Liu Ruyan would even bring her husband here. Did these two actually get closer while he was out cold for more than 2 years? No way! He needs to ruin their relationship and tear them apart as fast as possible. But before he can scheme, Liu Ruyan cuts him off, telling him he needs rest. So they should probably stop bothering him and leave him be. She grabs Du Qian's arm, sounding incredibly sweet as she suggests they head home. Honestly, this is crazy. What is this toxic girl even trying to pull? She is definitely using him as a shield to make the other guy jealous. Realizing her little game, Du Qian instantly yanks his hand away from her grip. He just walks right out the door without giving her a second glance.
Liu Ruyan stands there looking completely stunned, and Bi Yunyao is just as speechless. Like, what did he just witness?
She actually tried to hold his hand, only to get rejected with absolute disgust, but she ignores the embarrassment, keeping a cold face as she walks out while Bai Yunyao softly calls her name. He wishes her a happy birthday, just as the younger brother, Bi Yuntao, appears. This kid is looking like an absolute mess with super messy hair. He is even walking in this really bizarre bow-legged way that looks totally painful. Instead of visiting his brother, he just stands there staring at her with teary eyes. He asks her why, leaving Liu Ruyan looking completely clueless as she questions him. This is actually hilarious. The kid tried to play games and got completely wrecked. He lost everything without getting anything in return, whining for his sister Ruyan. But she immediately cuts him off, not giving him a single second to complain. She reminds him that his newly awakened brother probably needs him. She tells him to go inside and then walks off before he can even respond. Honestly, today has just been a massive fever dream of wild drama. At this point, Bi Yuntao stood frozen, desperately needing to investigate what just happened. He just watched Liu Ruyan and our main character disappear from his sight. The guy stomped his feet in pure rage, letting out a resentful roar. He screamed that Duqian would pay as the Rolls-Royce. The Phantom cruised back to Qingxinyan when the main character in the passenger seat suddenly spoke up. His tone was totally commanding, forcing Liu Ruyan to glance over at him. He told her to pull over, making her ask what was wrong. "Let us divorce," he said, dead serious and pronouncing every single word. Lai Ruyan took a deep breath, staring at him with a terrifyingly cold expression. It made him feel super uncomfortable. Like, why was this trash girl staring like that? He was the one bringing up divorce, so why did she look so furious? She looked absolutely furious, but since there was no bride price when they married, he promised not to be greedy and take too much of her money. Clearing his throat, he said with a slightly guilty voice that he only wanted their current villa plus the 2 Lakeview villas, and those 2 luxury apartments in Zijin Garden. As for cash, he did not want much, maybe $200 or $300 million. It was just back pay for taking care of her during their 3-year marriage, plus some cars. He thought about it seriously and decided on this Rolls-Royce Phantom. The Bugatti back in their garage and his usual Porsche Cayenne. Honestly, he had self-awareness and knew not to overplay his hand. Liu Ruyan asked coldly if this was his birthday gift to her. Honestly, she looked like a frozen sword pulled straight from an iceberg. It literally sent shivers down his spine, but he just smiled. Flashing an innocent smile, he asked if becoming single again was not actually the absolute best birthday gift for her. Now that Bai Yuntao was wide awake and she was single, she could chase her true love without any guilt, he joked. Since there is no day like today and the Civil Affairs Office is still open, they could easily rush over and secure their divorce papers right now. He urged her to drive, but she just took a deep breath. She tried so hard to suppress her rage, staying completely silent. Instead of going to the office, she drove right back home. The main character looked at her in confusion, asking about the bureau. Liu Ruyan completely ignored him, locking the car doors instantly. She was so incredibly mad, she low-key wanted to strangle him. Once the car parked at the villa, she stomped out. The main character glared, wondering what this trash girl was planning. If she refused to divorce, he would happily drag this out. We will see who cracks first. Inside, they met Liu Sihu.
Sihu held a glass of juice and rudely ordered Duqian to move.
But Duqian interrupted him, rolling his eyes in pure disgust. He headed up the stairs, knowing Sihu was just a complete idiot.
In his past life, this guy actually caught a deadly disease.
And died looking like literal skin and bones, which is crazy. Shut up, Sipu! Ruyan instantly cuts him off. Duqian does not even care about these 2 crazy siblings and slams his room door shut. He is cursing me! Sihu looks at his sister in absolute terror. The warning from Duqian has this guy turning completely pale from fear. His hand holding the juice is literally shaking as Rian takes a deep breath. She pats his head and tells him that Duqian did not curse him. What you heard was his inner voice. Hearing this, Sihu completely loses his mind. But wait, Duqian definitely did not open his mouth to speak. How could I hear his thoughts? Sihu was left completely clueless and terrified. What on earth is happening? Ruyan closes her eyes, feeling the massive headache. Honestly, she has no idea either because before today, this never happened.
She never heard a single thought of his, but this morning, the cheat code activated.
And the wildest part is, his whole personality did a complete 180. He is done playing the nice guy, and his eyes show nothing but pure disgust. Just yesterday, he was totally normal, making this sudden change actually crazy. Even early this morning, he was fine, but everything flipped inside that bathroom. Ruyan cannot wrap her head around this, while Sihu asks what he should do now. He screams that he does not want to end up ruined by disease and addiction. Ruyan completely ignores her panicking brother and looks around to ask for their mother. He explains that Mom went out with Aunt and hasn't returned yet.
She nods and tells him to call their father back home immediately, too.
She wants to hear exactly what fate lies ahead for the rest of her family. At least according to the secret future script that Du Qian apparently knows. While Sihu makes the calls, Du Quan is upstairs packing up all of Ruyan's stuff. He throws her clothes and everyday items into a massive suitcase.
He zips the giant suitcase shut with zero hesitation. The divorce is really happening.
He wheels it out just as Sihu finishes hanging up his phone downstairs. Out of the corner of his eye, Sihu spots Du Qian pushing the giant suitcase. Sihu instantly panics, thinking his brother-in-law is about to pack up and leave. We cannot let him leave! With that, Sihu dashes up the stairs. Du Qian, what do you think you are? But a cold glare instantly shuts him up. The guy takes 2 steps back in fear and completely freezes. Ruyan frowns, her eyes locked onto the massive suitcase right next to him. Du Qian gives her a cold, empty stare and tells her those are her things. Since we are divorcing, we should sleep separately. You are moving to the guest room. Sihu looks at his sister with a face full of confusion. Why are you guys divorcing? Do you have another man on the side? Ruyan glares at him, snapping that there is absolutely no such thing going on. What kind of nonsense is that? Why on earth is Du Qian doing this? Sihu quickly corrects himself, asking why his brother-in-law wants a divorce. Honestly, at this rate, even the brother is starting to take Du Qian's side. Sihu gasps as if he suddenly figured out the whole mystery. It must be that Yuntao trying to get close again. Sihu, shut up! Ruyan quickly cuts him off, but Du Qian just smiles at her reaction. Why deny it when even your little brother sees right through your trashy behavior? He sarcastically tells her that since she and Bai Yunyao are deeply in love, they should just get married. Talk about absolute pure sarcasm and a massive side of mockery. He wonders why this toxic woman won't just sign the papers and agree to the divorce. She definitely got roasted by Grandma today and is terrified of leaving empty-handed. So she drags it out honestly, serves her right for getting scammed dry by the main characters later. In the end, her only car gets sabotaged and plunges off a highway overpass. She burns to actual ashes. Hearing this crazy future spoiler, her brother Liu Sihu is shook. His face turns completely pale as he starts shaking in pure terror. Is his sister really going to die that miserably? He genuinely believed Bi Yunyao was a nice guy, but the dude had straight-up evil intentions. Sihu immediately turns on his sister, angrily shouting that she is absolutely not allowed to divorce. If she dares to divorce him, he will personally have Grandma kick her out of the family. He banishes her to the guest room, shoving her suitcase right at her. Then he casually wraps an arm around our guy's shoulder. Don't worry, bro, he is fully on his side this time. No forgiveness for her. Our guy just slowly turns to look. He flings the brother's hand off his shoulder, telling him to act normal. This sudden shift is way too weird, especially since the kid just looked at him with disgust. Like he was staring at garbage. Our guy wonders if he has lost his mind. Why else would he act all close? Meanwhile, the trash wife has no choice. Facing her husband's cold indifference and her brother's aggressive threats, she reluctantly wheels her suitcase into the guest room. She gets zero sleep that night, and her birthday is officially ruined in the worst way. Staring out the window all night, she skips dinner to ponder her life choices. Meanwhile, Sihu shamelessly clings to our guy's side, absolutely determined to get on his good graces. Next morning, our guy heads downstairs and is absolutely stunned to see Sihu wearing an apron. Walking straight out of the kitchen? Bro, is the sun actually rising from the west today? He literally has to double-check the door, this spoiled rich kid who never did any work. is actually cooking. The kid happily tells his brother-in-law to come eat breakfast. He proudly says that he and his sister cooked all of his favorite dishes.
Right on cue, Liu Ruyan steps out of the kitchen wearing the exact same matching apron.
She brings over a glass of milk, some fresh crystal dumplings, and freshly ground soy milk. She looks at him with this eerily calm face, and our boy's temples start throbbing. No shot. They're definitely trying to poison him. This toxic woman probably wants to avoid a payout by becoming a widow instead of getting divorced. Hearing this wild accusation in their heads, Ruyan's hand shakes as the siblings share a speechless look. Feeling completely done, our guy coldly tells them he is skipping breakfast because he is busy. He says he is leaving, giving them absolutely zero chance to respond. He quickly spins on his heel and bolts, and the sound of his car speeding away echoes outside. Sihu immediately blames his sister, snapping that she hurt his brother-in-law way too deeply. Otherwise, why would the man literally think they are trying to poison him? Ruyan stares at the food they spent over an hour preparing, her eyes sinking. Meanwhile, our boy drives out of the luxury neighborhood, heading straight to the Du family residence.
Since he cannot squeeze any cash out of Liu Ruyan right now, he has to shift targets.
It is time to collect from the Du family instead. 40 minutes later, his car arrives. He pulls up to the Du family villa, but the entire place is dead silent. It looks like that fake family of 3 is still asleep, staring at this familiar yet strange house. Mocking smirk? Absolutely. This is his late mother's house. And yet, those shameless parasites live here completely guilt-free. Walking straight into his father's study, he begins grabbing every single valuable thing in sight. One by one, he clears it out. The study is basically bare. He washes his hands and sits down to enjoy a very elegant breakfast. Suddenly, a screeching voice interrupts him. "Duchi, what are you doing in my house?" Wait, here comes the satisfying part. Our boy casually puts down his chopsticks and glances at Du Zitang.
Your house?
No shot! He walks right up to Du Zitang. You might have the Du surname, but you are nothing but an adopted charity case, so do not act like you own this place. His voice is quiet, but every word stabs straight into the guy's pride. Du Zitang glares back, gritting his teeth. Completely speechless, our boy just announces he is done eating and walks out. He looks away, cold, unbothered. But right at the door, he stops. If Dunan asks, tell him the truth. Dunan is Duchi's dad. By the way, Du Zitang is just the adopted kid of Dunan's stepmother, totally irrelevant. Duchi starts his car, but his phone instantly begins to buzz. He immediately declines it. But Liu Sihu, persistent as hell. He calls right back. Duchi sighs and answers, and Liu Sihu screams, "Brother-in-law! Get over here now!" Liu Sihu is sobbing frantically on the other end. Mom is in trouble. If your mom is in trouble, go call your sister, Liu Ruyan. Why call me? Go find a doctor. He speaks coldly, wanting absolutely nothing to do with the trashy Liu family. Brother-in-law, my sister is not picking up her phone because she is probably in a meeting. Liu Sihu is literally crying his eyes out, begging him to come. Duchi sighs. Understood. He hangs up, starts the engine, and drives toward the city hospital. Muttering in annoyance, he wonders if there is another hospital in town. Why does it have to be this place when that scumbag Bi Yun Tao is a doctor here? Seriously, he does not want to see that dog ever again. The moment Liu Sihu spots him, he runs over like he found his savior. She has been in surgery for an hour. Relax, she won't die. Honestly, his cold attitude is sending me. He is totally calm because she is not dying yet. She's just getting an amputation. Hearing this, Liu Sihu screams in horror. Amputation? Liu Sihu looks at him, completely terrified. He can't believe his ears. He stands there completely frozen. Just as he loses his mind, his phone rings, snapping him out of it. Answering the call, Liu Sihu bursts into tears and begs his sister to get to the hospital right now. Just then, a nurse calls out, "Family of Liu Ruyan?" The nurse steps out of the operating room and Sihu immediately yells that he is her son. "How is my mom? You absolutely have to save her," Sihu pleads desperately. As Liu Sihu panics, a gentle voice calls his name from the side. It is Wen Yantong,
Her gentle voice makes Sihu spin around in absolute shock. And there she is, walking out of the operating room with both legs completely intact.
Sure, her arm is in a cast and her forehead is scratched up, but she is fine. Her legs are perfectly fine, meaning there was absolutely no amputation. "Oh, thank goodness you are okay. I was scared to death," Sihu cries. Sihu instantly throws himself into her arms and starts crying like a complete baby. Du Qian is staring at Wen Yantong in absolute disbelief, because those legs should be gone. In the original plot, her traveling with Yu Fengchai was supposed to end in a devastating car crash. Yu Fengchai had actually spent forever planning this exact accident to ruin her. So how is the plot deviating now? Meanwhile, Wen Yantong suddenly glares over. She looks at Du Qian in complete shock since his mouth is not even moving. How on earth can she hear his inner thoughts? Before she can ask, Bi Yunyao interrupts. His deeply worried voice echoes out, gasping in shock that Wen Yantong is actually injured. Wen Yantong turns and spots Bi Yunyao sitting in a wheelchair not too far away. He looks incredibly thin and weak as he asks her how she is doing. He asks how she got so badly hurt while she gasps, realizing Yunyao is finally awake. She looks at Bai Yunyao in total shock, asking him when he finally woke up. She asks why he did not call her, then tells Sihu to quickly call Sister Ni. Sihu needs to tell her that Sihan is awake and to get over here immediately. Honestly, she is beyond thrilled because she has always absolutely adored Bi Yunyao. He is refined, polite, and always shows her the utmost respect as his elder. Most importantly, her daughter Lu Ruyan loves him, and if Du Qian had not ruined everything, her daughter would have married Bi Yunyao instead of that absolute nobody, Du Qian. She really wanted Bi Yunyao as her son-in-law because she despised Du Qian. Seriously, she cannot stand Du Qian at all, besides him being decently handsome. From head to toe, he does not have a single trait that compares to Yunyao. Du Qian already knows his mother-in-law is plotting to make Ruyan divorce him immediately. That way she can marry her beloved Yunyao. He silently urges her to hurry up. He wishes his mother-in-law would just convince her daughter to do it already. He wants that divorce finalized today, but the mother and son suddenly glare at him. They are incredibly confused by his words, but Sihu quickly cuts in. Sihu interrupts again, begging his mother that they should just head home. He anxiously points out how both he and Du Qian were worried sick. Sihu complains that his sister is useless for not picking up his calls during this crisis. But thankfully, the moment Du Qian heard the news, he did not hesitate. He rushed over instantly, which makes Wen Yantong stare at Sihu very weirdly. She wonders if her son lost his mind, since he usually despises Du Qian. Why is he suddenly defending his brother-in-law? Bi Yunyao is equally puzzled by this. He cannot figure out Sihu's angle, while Du Qian calmly speaks up next. Du Qian tells his mother-in-law that since she is fine, he will get going. He turns to leave, but before he can take 2 steps, Yunyao calls out. Yunyao stops him, claiming it is completely inappropriate to leave while his mother-in-law is hurt. Aren't you Wen Yi's son-in-law? It's literally your job to look after your injured mother-in-law. He says this with a straight face, making our main character scoff out loud. He gives him a mocking look and says he's just giving this amazing opportunity to Mr. Bai. The mother-in-law immediately snaps at Du Qian for being so disrespectful. She scolds him, complaining that Bai Yunyao just woke up and is still recovering. How can he be so sarcastic instead of showing some actual concern? She tells him to grow up, but our boy just chuckles at the sheer absurdity. Right, he says, I forgot Mr. Bai got hurt saving my wife, Liu Ruyan. Since they owe him, maybe Liu Ruyan should just marry him as a thank you. Just then, Liu Ruyan walks in and catches the tail end of his words. Go ahead and marry Bai Yunyao, he says, because I don't want you anyway. Are you happy with this gratitude, he asks, while Bai Yunyao spots Liu Ruyan approaching. He instantly puts on a victim face, asking Du Qian how he can be so cruel. He repeats for the 100th time that he and Ruyan are just innocent friends. He claims he never wanted anything in return, and if his caring caused a misunderstanding, then he is deeply sorry and wants to apologize right now. But before our main character can even respond, his brother-in-law, Liu Sihu, steps in. He glares at Bai Yunyao, asking if that fake apology is supposed to be a joke. It's obvious he is just trying to destroy his relationship with his brother-in-law. Also, wasn't it his own stupid, reckless behavior that caused the accident years ago?
Do you have any idea how much money and effort my sister wasted solving it?
She even had to use dowry money just to clean up his mess.
Plus, what kind of normal friend calls another man's wife by her first name?
Calling her Rayan over and over again is just way too intimate and weird.
Honestly, Liu Sihu absolutely destroys this green tea guy in one breath, no breaks.
Bi Yunyao's face turns bright red, looking like he just suffered the worst tragedy ever. His breathing gets heavy as he desperately looks around for his savior.
He glances towards Liu Ruyan, wondering why on earth she hasn't stepped in yet.
Is she really gonna let these two walk all over him like this? He remembers how cold Liu Ruyan was when she visited him the day before.
She basically treated him like a complete stranger, which was super weird. He had even asked his brother Bai Yun Tao about her afterward.
His brother assured him that her relationship with Du Qian was still totally dead. It was supposedly ice cold, and the family still absolutely hated the husband.
Hearing that, the villain had finally relaxed and thought his plan was safe.
But now he is completely lost and has no idea what is happening. Why is this brainless idiot brother-in-law suddenly taking Du Qian's side?
Did his brother lie to him, he wonders, just as Liu Ruyan finally approaches.
Our main character is secretly hyped. Oh, his big shield has arrived. This toxic girl is definitely going to lose her mind seeing her precious crush crying.
She is totally gonna blame me for this. Bi Yunyao cries out her name. But Liu Ruyan cuts him off instantly, calling him Mr. B with ice-cold eyes. She tells him to call her President Liu and demands respect for her husband. Bi Yunyao stands there completely frozen, his brain failing to compute what just happened.
He looks like he wants to ask if she has completely lost her mind. Our MC is completely shocked too. Did Liu Ruyan lose her mind?
She actually chose him over Bai Yunyao, and in the original plot,
Liu Ruyan constantly fought the female lead to back Bi Yunyao up.
she even snatched the female lead's projects, not caring if she lost everything.
All of that to impress Bi Yunyao, but his heart was never hers.
His heart belonged to the female lead, and they grew old together.
Surrounded by grandkids while you were just cannon fodder.
Who would even remember you? Meanwhile, Wen Yantong is completely baffled. What is going on? Why does she understand every single word Du Qian says? But put together, it makes zero sense. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan felt her eyelids
Twitching violently, even though she already knew her own tragic ending.
Hearing it again in Du Qian's thoughts still makes her blood boil. Honestly, same.
So Liu Ruyan completely ignores Bi Yunyao's pathetic, pouting face.
She turns to Wen Yantong, asking if she's okay and what the doctor said. Wan Yantong snaps out of it, saying it is just a fractured arm.
With minor scratches, she tells her to handle the paperwork so they can go home. Liu Ruyan nods, turning to our MC, telling him and Siho to stay with Mom.
She will handle the paperwork, while Bi Yunyao looks up at her with desperate, longing eyes.
But Liu Ruyan completely freezes him out, coldly turning to the nurse.
And ordering them to push Mr. Bai back to his ward. Bi Yunyao begs her to stay.
But Liu Ruyan just walks away, leaving him to turn to Wen Yantong.
He whimpers, asking if he did something wrong, while Wen Yantong's mind is a total mess.
Hearing Dua Qian's inner thoughts, she never saw this twist coming. She never expected Bi Yunyao to be such a snake, faced with his fake, sad expression. She feels zero sympathy. She just coldly tells him to get back to his ward. Since he just woke up, he needs to rest. She adds that Sihoa was right. Ruyan is a married woman. Even as regular friends, they should not be getting this close. Bi Yunyao
Just stares at her, completely dumbfounded. He literally cannot believe his ears.
He tries to argue, but the nurse immediately wheels him away. He grips the wheelchair tightly, wondering how things could have gone so wrong. Why? This entire situation is completely off his script. Meanwhile, our MC is just standing there, looking like a total statue. His brain is fried, and he cannot wrap his head around this either. How did the entire Liu family suddenly pull a complete 180? I love this pacing. Shiho snorts in annoyance, wondering how she never realized how trashy Bi Yunyao actually is. She huffs and tells her brother-in-law that she is officially done playing with him, and will only hang out with him while our MC frantically tries to decline.
Just then, an anxious voice calls out, asking Yangtong how she's doing.
Asking how she got in an accident, Wen Yantong's #1 rival suddenly shows up. This is literally one of the main culprits behind her death. Rival? Wen Yantong looks over. Her eyes are filled with pure disdain. Like, what do you mean, rival? Ever since she met Liu Yunshan, that word has literally never been in her vocabulary. They've been married for 31 years, and they have never once had a real fight. So yeah, the concept of a rival is basically non-existent to Wen Yantong. Just as this thought crosses Wen Yantong's mind, her sister-in-law Yu Fengchai comes rushing over in a total panic. She sizes Wen Yintong up and down before grabbing her hand, acting all worried and asking where she's hurt. Yu Fengchai starts crying about how this accident could happen, wailing that she has no idea how to explain this to Liu Yunshan. Wen Yintong gasps out in pain because in a rush, Yu Fengchai grabs her right arm. She completely wrenches her fractured hand. Wow, this woman is acting like a pro. Sizing Miss Wen up like that, is she disappointed that the car crash did not actually finish her off? And she claims she doesn't know how to face Liu Yunshan, but weren't these two literally just having a shameless affair? I mean, even those two kids are actually their secret love children, born from this affair. Both mother and son are completely losing it right now. Who could have ever guessed this? The truth is just way too brutal to process. But wait, this whole car crash? It was originally planned to leave Wen Yintong with amputated legs, but somehow things did not go their way. She got away with just a few minor scratches. Talk about insane plot armor. This definitely wasn't what Yu Fengchai and Liu Yunshan wanted to see, so who knows what evil scheme they will cook up next. But honestly, Du Qian is just like, whatever, none of my business anyway. Whether they survive or not, it is entirely their own stupidity catching up with them. Hearing this, when Yintong and Lu Sihu look at each other, screaming in their minds that he cannot just abandon them. They are supposed to be family! Just then, Lu Ruyan finishes the hospital paperwork and walks back. But as she rounds the corner, she hears Du Qian's inner thoughts, and her face instantly goes pitch black. Her own father and her aunt having a thing? Yeah, she definitely did not see that coming. Liu Sihu is the first to snap out of it, yelling at his aunt to back off. He warns her that his mom's hand is fractured and she is squeezing way too hard. Asking if she wants to ruin his mother's arm forever, which completely stuns Yu Fengchai. She quickly lets go of Wen Yintong's arm, looking extremely guilty and apologetic, while crying out that she is so incredibly sorry, claiming she did not mean to do it and was just way too worried about her. As Yu Fengchai finally lets go, Wen Yintong cradles her throbbing arm in absolute agony. But the pure hatred burning in her heart right now is completely off the charts. She swears she will expose this toxic couple's true faces to the entire world one day. At this point, Lu Ruyan joins them, and the five of them finally leave the hospital. As they head toward Liu Ruyan's car, Du Qian instinctively goes to open the back door. But Liu Sihu suddenly stops him and pushes him toward the front passenger seat, saying he belongs up front. He wears a warm smile while talking to him. In fact, he even politely holds the passenger door open before pushing Du Qian inside, telling Liu Ruyan in the driver's seat that she needs to treat her husband much better, warning her not to keep making him angry since he is always so good to her. He then pats Du Qian on the shoulder, promising that he and his mom will always stand on his side, no matter what, threatening to kick his sister out if she ever bullies him, which honestly leaves Du Qian completely dazed by this sudden change of heart. Why is this guy suddenly acting so nice, though? The entire car ride remains completely silent after that. Suddenly, Li Ruyan pulls the car over to the side, leaving Du Qian looking at her in total confusion. She says she just needs to text Xiaohua to get some work documents sent over, explaining her sudden stop with some very rare patience. He doesn't think twice about it, since he never gets involved with her company business anyway. 2 minutes later, Liu Ruyan wraps things up and starts the car. She restarts the engine and quietly glances over at him, admitting that she was completely wrong with how she handled things before. This leaves him completely speechless and dazed. Not getting what he means, Liu Ruyan just taps her fingers on the steering wheel. She seems to be calculating, promising to keep her distance from them from now on. This leaves Muge even more confused. Keep distance from which B brother exactly? Liu Ruyan explains further, claiming her concern for Bi Yunya was strictly about President Liu.
But Morg just cuts her off with a careless shrug and a smirk.
He tells her she doesn't need to explain since whoever she likes is her own choice.
Besides, now that Mr. Bai is finally awake, Mujay has suddenly seen the light. He is totally ready to step aside, asking her when they can finalize things. They can just get their divorce papers, and he's even down to negotiate the payout. They can negotiate, but then boom, Liu Ruyan suddenly slams on the brakes. She whips around, eyes completely bloodshot, asking if he is really that desperate for a divorce. Muge just scoffs, asking if she really wants to keep holding Mr. B back. He can't have her crush branded as a home-wrecking side piece when she clearly wants him. Before he can even finish, she aggressively leans in and locks her lips onto his. She kisses him deeply, pouring all her absolute frustration and anger into the kiss. This guy going on and on about other men is driving her completely insane.
And his constant talk about getting a divorce just pushes her straight over the edge.
Muge's eyes widen in absolute horror as he realizes how toxic she really is. Wondering what on earth she is doing, he targets her lips without a second thought. He bites down hard, not letting go until the metallic taste of blood fills his mouth. That finally snaps Liu Ruyan out of her daze, and she quickly backs off. But instead of getting mad, she just wears a wicked smirk and stays silent. She simply shifts gears and drives off. A barely visible, satisfied smile plays on her lips. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Bi Yunyao is staring blankly at Lu Tanshui, totally hooked and unable to look away. Lu Tanshui is Yu Fengchai's daughter and also Lu Ruyan's secret half-sister. Seeing her stand up to leave, he immediately asks if she is already going. Bai Yunyao desperately grabs her hand as his massive crush on her is incredibly obvious. He loves her just like Muge loved Lu Ruyan, but she always plays hot and cold. This leaves him totally insecure, so Liu Tanchi gently pats his hand to comfort him. She softly whispers that he just woke up and the doctor said he needs rest. Just rest well, she tells him, promising to visit him again next time. Yet her tone is pretty cold, and Bi Yunyao definitely catches the bad vibe. He can clearly sense her annoyance, but despite wanting her to stay, he has to yield. Reluctantly, he finally releases her hand, telling her to drive safely on her way out. Liu Tanshui takes a deep breath, and a satisfied smirk finally plays on her face. She tells him to seriously think over what she just said to him. Everyone can see how much Liu Ruyan loves him, so he shouldn't waste her feelings. Hearing this, Bai Yunyao forces a bitter smile and promises to think about it. She just gives a flat nod and leaves without a single backward glance. The nurse watches her leave, then pulls out her phone to send a quick text. Meanwhile, at Wenhua Villa, Muge is watching Wenyan boss Yu Fengcai around with absolute confidence. Honestly, this is wild. Is this really the same submissive woman we knew before? She used to behave like an obedient servant around Yu Fengcai, but now? She looks like a domineering boss venting her anger, even complaining that the tea tastes wrong. Wen Yantong sets her cup down and straight up insults her tea. Yu Fengshai's brow furrows because Wen Yantong is seriously pushing her luck here. She is literally treating her like a maid and complaining about her brewing skills. Suppressing her rage, Yu Fengchai asks what could possibly be wrong with the tea. Wen Yantong sighs dramatically and says the tea flavor is way too strong. Plus, she complains the leaves are way too old. Our girl Kian is looking on in complete confusion. Is Miss Wen playing with cheats today?
Is she throwing shade? Honestly, her green tea vibe is way too strong.
Whatever, let's just move on. Wen Yantong tells her to stop wasting good tea and go prep dinner instead. Wait, what? Yi Fengchai looks at Wen Yantong in absolute shock. You want me to make dinner? Wen Yantong just nods. Looking innocent, she asks, Sister-in-law, didn't you promise to take care of me? Yu Fengchai argues back, asking why Nanny Li isn't doing it. Wen Yantong acts like she just remembered, apologizing that Nanny Li had a family emergency. So I sent her home. You'll have to handle it these next few days. Ruyan and Kian are staying here too, so she'll need to cook extra dishes. This is a nightmare for Yu Fengchai because she hasn't done manual labor in ages. If it wasn't to secure her man Liu Shun, she'd never have sucked up to this woman. Wen Yantong plays the victim. If you don't want to, it's fine. With a sweet smile, she adds that Li Yushan can just take care of her instead. He's used to it anyway, and at this point, Yu Fengchai's face is literally twitching.
Her eyes flash with pure hatred, and honestly, isn't she afraid of getting poisoned?
Seriously, Yu Fengchai has wanted her dead for a very long time. Yu Fengchai grits her teeth and says she'll do it. How could we let a big man like Liu Yunshan do kitchen work? Wen Yantong smiles and tells her to leave certain ingredients out. Since Qian hates it, and honestly, our girl is completely speechless here. She's actually shocked that her mother is suddenly catering to her tastes.
Like, is this even the same Miss Wen? 10 minutes later, things get wild.
Li Yushan finally returns, shouting that they've gone way too far.
An angry voice echoes through the massive living room,
where the mother and daughters are enjoying a fancy afternoon tea, laughing and chatting. But out in the yard, Yu Fengkai is literally in the middle of killing a chicken. And yes, Wen Yantong actually kept a live bird at home just for this, just to force Yu Fengkai to make a fresh steamed dish for her. At this point, Yu Fengchai's teeth are literally grinding in pure rage.
She hasn't killed a chicken in decades, and just the thought of doing it
and dealing with that nasty smell makes her want to throw up. She's a total mess, with chicken blood and feathers splattered all over her expensive outfit.
The second she spots Li Yunshan, she bursts into tears from pure frustration.
Heavy tears stream down her face, and seeing this absolutely breaks Liu Yunshan's heart. This is his childhood sweetheart, the mother of his kids, and he can't stand it.
He holds Yu Fengchai tight, comforting her before storming into the house like a madman.
And that's when he sees Wen Yantong and the girls chilling on the couch with gourmet snacks. While they look like a picture-perfect happy family inside, outside is Yu Fengchai, and the difference is literally heaven versus earth.
Seeing this, Liu Yunshan loses his absolute mind and starts screaming like a lunatic at Wen Yantong.
Our MC is just rolling his eyes. He is actually feeling bad for his side piece? Seriously, how blind was Wen Yantong back in the day to let herself get scammed by a broke, freeloading gold digger like him? It is crazy after the whole family met their end. All the Wen family wealth ended up with the female Leeds family. Talk about how being blindly in love completely ruins lives. Though you gotta admit, this trash dad Liu Yunshan actually has a pretty face. And their daughter Liu Ruyan basically hit the genetic jackpot by inheriting the absolute best features from both of them. No wonder people say pretty faces are pure trouble. Just then, Liu Ruyan walks out of the study room. She overhears our MC roasting her under his breath and immediately shoots him an extremely annoyed glare. She confronts her dad, asking if he even knew her mom got into a car accident and why he did not rush to the hospital. Her eyes are cold as she looks at Liu Yunshan, her voice absolutely dripping with anger and disappointment. She calls him out directly. Her mom got into a major crash, and as a husband, he completely failed to show any care.
But this shameless dad just snaps back, claiming that she looks perfectly fine anyway.
Hearing that, Wen Yantong literally leaps up from the sofa in pure rage.
She glares daggers at her husband, demanding to know if he is just disappointed that her injuries are not worse.
Are you wishing I died in that crash? At this point, the sneaky Aunt Yu Fengchai rushes in to play peacemaker. She tells her not to say such things, claiming Liu Yunshan would never wish that on her. She insists that he cares deeply, but hey, he is just a man. He is busy running around with his career, so it is only normal that he could not find time right away. But their son, Liu Sihu, immediately speaks up, telling his aunt that he completely disagrees with that excuse. He reminds her that his sister runs the entire company, so their dad's absolute biggest career right now is just fishing. Then, his face tightens up, as if a realization suddenly hit him. Oh wait, he says there is actually one more job he has, which is constantly visiting his aunt's house to keep her company.
The boy turns to his dad and asks why it feels like lately he is spending all his free time over there.
He points out that his dad spends more than half of his days just hanging out at their aunt's place. If people did not know any better, they would literally think his aunt is the real wife here. You little brat, what nonsense are you spewing? Liu Yunshan snaps, glaring with absolute fury at his own son. He swings his hand to slap the boy, but someone steps in.
Liu Ruyan immediately grabs her brother and pulls him right behind her back to protect him.
She coldly asks her dad if Sihu said anything wrong, whose wife gets into a terrible accident.
And the husband does not even bother to show up? Hearing her act all righteous, our MC just lets out a mocking laugh. He mutters under his breath that she is one to talk, when he was burning up with a 40-degree fever. Did she not also dump him just to run off and meet up with her precious boy toy, Bi-yoon Tao?
Like father, like daughter, but Liu Ruyan actually catches his voice and freezes up completely.
Furrowing her brows, she wonders when she ever abandoned him while he was sick.
And meeting up with Bi-yoon Tao, she knows she has been a cold, distant wife over the years.
But she is absolutely sure she has never betrayed her marriage or done anything to hurt him.
She definitely never sneaked out to meet Bi-yoon Tao. Meanwhile, Wen Yentong and Liu Sihu
both turn around and shoot Lu Ruyan a massive, judging look of pure disappointment. Of course, the trash dad, Lu Yunshan, totally misreads the room and thinks his wife is backing him up.
He thinks she is scolding their daughter for being disrespectful, and honestly, he is loving every second of it.
He immediately starts scolding Wen Yentong, asking why she is treating his sister-in-law like some low-class maid.
Wen Yentong slowly turns her gaze to Yu Fengchai, asking her very clearly if she was ever forced to do anything.
She reminds her, back at the hospital, did she not practically beg to come over and take care of her?
Wen Yentong sounded incredibly annoyed as she asked if she had said something wrong.
She pointed out that Yu Fengchai was the one who insisted on taking care of her, begging to help, but acting completely two-faced now.
Like, who goes behind someone's back to trash talk them to their own husband? Even though Wen Yentong was absolutely furious, she still kept her cool and stayed classy. Seriously, the contrast here is wild. One is pure elegance, the other is a total mess. Honestly, even Yu Fengchai realized that standing next to her made her look incredibly cheap. Always second best, and right now it was painfully obvious. It literally made her feel like she was back in her countryside village feeding pigs. Just as she opened her mouth to make some excuses, Wen Yentong completely shut her down. Bringing her pathetic family to the city was pure pity. A middle school dropout like her would still be shoveling manure back in the village otherwise. Wen Yentong judged her from head to toe, making Liu Yunshan glare back in pure rage. He was practically shaking with anger, and seeing this, Yu Fengchai knew she had to act. She quickly tried to pacify him, telling him he shouldn't treat Wen Yentong like that. She admitted that Wen Yentong was completely right, and this was entirely his fault. When Wen Yentong got hurt, he should have rushed over to her side immediately.
She asked how a loving husband could mess up this badly, urging him to apologize right away. After saying that, she kept winking at Liu Yunshan, signaling him to keep his ego in check.
Like it or not, Liu Ruyan was still the one running the entire company right now. They just needed to wait until their daughter, Liu Tanshui, took over the business. Only then could they get their revenge. Liu Yunshan took a deep breath and nodded.
He forced an apology, promising it wouldn't happen again.
He claimed he just lost his temper, but when Yantong asked if he expected a next time, she stared at him with a mocking smile as he desperately blurted out apologies.
He quickly begged her for forgiveness.
He promised to stay by her side every single day, praying she wouldn't get sick of him.
He begged her to stop being mad, claiming her relationship with his sister-in-law was usually great. He begged them not to let a tiny issue ruin their bond, while Yu Fengchai waved it off. She warmly smiled, claiming she wouldn't take it to heart. She claimed she knew Wen Yentong meant no harm, and told Liu Yunshan to stay with his wife. She offered to prepare the chicken to make a nice, healthy soup for her recovery. Suddenly, her eyes locked onto Chi Yan, who had been quietly enjoying the drama this whole time. With a fake motherly smile, she asked Chi Yan if he could help her out. She offered to teach him how to steam chicken so he could cook for Lu Ruyan. But before Chi Yan could even answer, Liu Ruyan immediately pulled him close to her side.
She coldly told her aunt that doing manual labor like this was out of the question. She didn't even let her husband touch such dirty work. Honestly, we love a protective queen. Seeing everyone treat Yu Fengchai like absolute garbage, Liu Yunshan quickly stepped in to help.
He volunteered to assist instead, earning nothing but a disgusted sneer from Wen Yentong.
Now that she knew about the filthy affair between him and Yu Fengchai, she felt absolute disgust. Finally, the two slithered away. Wen Yantong glared deeply at Liu Ruyan and told her to follow her upstairs. She had something important to say, leaving Qian behind to wait for them. With that, the mother and daughter headed straight toward Liu Ruyan's study. Back in the study, Wen Yantong stares at her daughter Liu Ruyan with a super conflicted look. Listen to me, daughter. Do not throw away this marriage. We treated him terribly before, so you need to make up for it and treat him twice as well now. If you actually dare to get a divorce, I will seriously disown you as my daughter. Just as Liu Ruyan opens her mouth to speak, her mother cuts her off with a deadly serious glare. Liu Ruyan replies, her voice heavy. Mom, I have never once thought about getting a divorce. Since I chose to marry him, I have never wanted any other man to be my husband. I have also never done anything unfaithful in this marriage, but her mother does not believe her for a second. With how much you obsess over and chase after Bai Yunyao, do you seriously expect anyone to believe that? Because I certainly do not. Plus, Xiaoyan just said he was burning up with a 40-degree fever. Yet you abandoned your sick husband to go on a date with Bai Yunyao? Wen Yantong's voice rising in pure rage. She raises her hand and lands another heavy slap right onto her daughter's neck. Li Ruyan, how could you be so shameless? Is this really how I raised you to behave since childhood? Honestly, if I could not literally hear Xiaoyan's inner thoughts, I would still be totally in the dark. Who knew you were actually such a manipulative player? Meanwhile, poor Liu Ruyan feels incredibly wronged by this accusation. Since she never did any of this, she frantically tries to explain that she is innocent. Mom, I did not leave him behind to suffer. I actually drove him to the hospital myself. I literally watched the nurse give him fever medicine. He must have misremembered because he was delirious. No way. What about that date with Bi Yunyao then, Wen Yantong demands? Bai Yunyao called me, so I only stepped out of the hospital room to answer the phone.
How could I have known that in his feverish state, he would think I abandoned him?
Helpless, Liu Ruyan sighs as she calls her mother Miss Wen.
Wen Yantong immediately slaps her head again. Do you not have a mouth to speak?
Why did you not just explain it to Xiaoyan right then? Why on earth did you choose to play mute? Liu Yuyan desperately opens her mouth to defend herself, but her furious mother does not give her a single second to speak. Stop making those useless excuses right now. What is even the point of explaining all of this to me? Will it make Xiaoyan forgive you? Out of every 3 thoughts he has, 2 of them are about divorcing you. Let me tell you this right now. I do not care what kind of trick you pull, you must get his forgiveness immediately. Otherwise, I am kicking you out with absolutely nothing, and I will adopt Xiaoyan as my godson. I will leave the entire Wen family fortune to him. Liu Ruyan can only nod, saying she understands. Right then, Liu Ruyan's phone suddenly rings, and as she answers it, we have no idea what the caller says. But her face instantly turns completely pale and dark. Seeing this, Wen Yantong asks what is wrong with sheer panic. Liu Ruyan takes a deep, heavy breath, saying Uncle Guan was just in a horrific car accident. His brakes failed and he slammed straight into the highway guardrail, and he is already at the hospital. What? Wen Yantong collapses completely onto the sofa, her face turning as white as a ghost. See, Uncle Guan is her trusted personal driver, and just the other day he was driving her and Yu Fengchai to Qingcheng. But yesterday, after Wen Yantong got that urgent call from Liu Sihu, everything went off the rails. She rushed to buy a high-speed train ticket back home, completely forgetting to notify her driver. Hiring a private taxi to head back to her villa, she suddenly got caught in a massive highway crash. 2 other cars had rear-ended each other and the taxi could not dodge in time, getting scraped up too. Our family cars are always inspected on a strict schedule, so how could his brakes just suddenly fail? That exact car was sent in for maintenance just last week, Wen Yantong says with a trembling voice. There is only one explanation. This is definitely the work of Lu Yunshan and Yu Fengchai. They set up this crash to assassinate her. These villains are actually playing for keeps. Wen Yantong grits his teeth, swearing to leave him with absolutely nothing. Furious, he calls him a total ungrateful snake. Seriously, without the Wen family, he'd be a nobody. But instead of showing gratitude, he literally backstabbed them. Trying to ruin us? Fine, if that's the play, then let's see how he likes this.